and folks who have reached out to our offices about the dangers of this item. Our office received information from the ACLU, from Brookings Institute, and from hundreds of Austinites yesterday inside and outside of the chamber. This is about freedom, it's about privacy, and it's about keeping our city a place that lives up to its values that we say that we believe in. So that's why I voted against the ALPRs in the past. I'll vote against them in the future, and I'll vote against any item that puts Austinites at risk. So once again, I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I will pass it off to Annette Price from Grassroots Leadership. Yeah.
Good day. My name is Annette Price, and I am the Executive Director of Grassroots Leadership, and I urge Austin City Council to vote against any license plate reader contracts. The only true secure data that is never collected. This does not belong in our city, not now and not ever. Council members have an opportunity to put this conversation about ALPR contracts to rest by being bold and voting on what is right. Is Austin willing to participate in mass surveillance technology contracts of any kind that will collect and store information about the location, the timestamp, and images of every vehicle passing, regardless if you are a suspect of a crime or not? What is the price that we're willing to pay? We won't allow it. Our city deserves care and not surveillance. There is not enough companies out there that can guarantee that our data will be protected. It is best to not collect it in the first place. In the time of daily dollar breaches, surveillance, overreach, and overgrowing mistrust in institutions, we cannot afford to build a system that collects information used for mass surveillance. Yet, that's exactly what Flock Safety license plate reader system does. Mass collects data on all drivers, all the time, regardless of suspicion or relevance. It is not just Flock, but any company that promotes from fear or profits from fear and mistrust and mass surveillance is not what we need in our city. We've seen breaches at U.S. custom borders and protection. We've seen hackers access live ALPR streams in real time. We've seen this data shared with ICE and used to track immigrants, advocates, and women seeking abortion care. This isn't just a threat, a theoretical threat. It's real. And it grows every time we normalize collecting information, just in case. If a technology cannot guarantee the protection of our community, our community's privacy, especially our most vulnerable among us, it doesn't belong in our city. To open its door, how can we guarantee that our personal information won't be shared or compromised? How can we protect our communities currently targeted by this administration? It won't. It makes us a target. Safety is not surveillance. Trust is safety. It's investing in our housing, in mental health, and in care. So I'll say it again. Not only true security or secure data is a data that is never collected. Let's choose policies that reflect that. Protect us by saying, not now and not ever in Austin. Thank you.
Good morning, y'all. Thanks for having me here. Apologies for the profuse sweating. I'm having hot flashes right now, so just ignore that. My glasses, thank you. My name is Mo, and I'm a policy organizer for Grassroots Leadership, urging City Council to vote no against automatic license plate readers because they're a threat to all of us. I'd like to take a moment to speak about Flock Safety. Flock markets its surveillance systems as crime-fighting as a crime fighting tool, but they're really in the business of mass collection and profit. They're not about public safety. They're an investor funded surveillance company whose investors include Peter Thiel and Mark Anderson, individuals with deep ties to the far right politics and anti privacy agendas. Flock's cameras record every license plate everywhere they're installed, regardless of cause or suspicion. They store and sell access to this data while crossing jurisdictions and ignoring local oversight. Flock has the capacity to share Austin's data with any law enforcement agency in the country. They've done this in other cities already. Since January, over 4,000 ALPR searches have been done on behalf of immigration agents using Flock's cloud system. That's 4,000 times this technology has been weaponized against our immigrant communities. This is not a hypothetical. This is happening across the country and in our own backyards. Flock is not a neutral vendor, and they are not accountable to the public, but rather to the pockets of people who get rich from violating our right to privacy. Cities like Denver and Fort Worth have already ended their contracts with Flock. Not only should Austin they should go beyond and reject any form of AI, any kind of ALPR's surveillance contracts. Thank you. And on a personal note, I just wanted to say, as a trans and intersex person, ALPRs are a threat to all of us. Today, pregnant people have already been targeted with ALPRs and charged with the crime for simply trying to gain competent reproductive health care out of our state. Some Texans and intersex Texans are already using medical tourism to have their medical needs met out of state. This political environment at the state legislature and at the federal level around trans and intersex people's rights has been very unaccepting and very caustic. They're trying to legislate trans and intersex people out of existence. They're trying to erase us. We need more hands on deck to help Austinites, not more eyes to scrutinize and make assumptions of us. No data is safe. We need to invest in people, not security theater. Safety is having access to resources. AI and data centers use a lot of water and a lot of electricity, and these two things are in shortage in Texas, and we need to focus on infrastructure and healthcare for all Texans. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Danielle?
Danielle?
Good morning. My name is Daniela Silva, and I'm the Austin Policy Coordinator at Workers Defense Action Fund, an organization of over 62,000 immigrant workers. Austinites have spoken out firmly in opposition against implementation of mass surveillance technology, which puts thousands of people at risk of having their civil rights violated. Immigrant communities, regardless of documentation status, have been living in fear of even leaving their homes for the past 6 months, worried that at any moment, going to the grocery store or leaving church, one of them will be snatched off the streets and their families ripped apart. Implementing surveillance technology that could make it easier for immigrants to be unjustly pulled into the deportation pipeline reduces public safety for everyone, threatening the beautiful fabric that makes Austin the vibrant city that it is. With policies attacking our community coming from both the state and federal government, this kind of tool simply does not make the risks associated with its implementation worth it. We would like to say thank you to all of the council members who echoed the concerns of their constituents. Councilmembers Siegel, Kadri, Fuentes, Harper Madison, and Lane, thank you for your leadership. And thank you to City Manager Broadnax for listening to Austinites and pulling this item from tomorrow's agenda. But let us be clear. We have one message that we would like for our leaders to hear. Austinites are firmly against automated license plate readers and any kind of AI technology that mass surveils its people. It is not our vision of public safety, and we do not want this program. Not now, and not ever. I'll pass it along to Mackenzie.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Ryan. I'm a board member here at EFF Austin. I'm also a lawyer with a degree in computer science. Oh, sorry. My name is Mackenzie Ryan. I'm a lawyer with a degree in computer science, and I'm on the board of EFF Austin, if no one heard. I'm here today to recognize something really extraordinary. Austin opted not to renew its contract with Flock. It could become one of the largest cities in the kind. That's powerful. It sends a message that our city is not willing to blindly hand over mass surveillance power to private companies. But I also want to be very clear that the fight is not over. And what's at stake is a lot larger than just license plates. Here's what's important to understand. Flock did not build a tool, they built a system. Right now, their cameras are advertised as license plate readers, but that can change at any moment. Starting this fall, Flock will update all of their cameras into live streaming surveillance that is capable of recording video and changing angles around any event they decide to track. That is just the beginning. Once the cameras are up, and there are currently over 500 just in Austin, they can be outfitted with any technology, including facial recognition, predictive AI, or behavioral analytics. Flock is already rolling out integrations with police databases and drone systems across the country. This is the playbook. They present the tech as narrow, harmless, and good for public safety. But then once they install their cameras in their infrastructure, the real capabilities, the one the public would never agree to, are turned on. And by the time the public understands what's happened, it's too late. Mass surveillance expands. It never retreats. And it always markets itself in the name of public safety, especially in communities like ours that pride themselves in being inclusive, diverse, and democratic. The ALPR contract was pulled, not defeated. And if history is any guide, it will come back. It might be repackaged, renamed, or disguised as a new pilot program. Flock may come back with new language, new branding, a new partner. They are betting that the public memory is short and tech infrastructure is permanent. That is why Flock is moving to install these cameras at such a rapid pace and without proper authorization or approval by the community in some cases. They've installed over 200 cameras in South Carolina without proper permits and threatened a Department of Transportation official in Illinois when questioned about their permits. And that's just what we know about. That's why we must treat today not as a conclusion, but a call to vigilance. The core problem isn't contract language. You cannot put a leash on mass surveillance. Once the data exists, you have lost control on how it will be used. No local policy can override that. No clause in a contract can stop it. The only way to protect our residents, especially immigrants and people seeking reproductive care, is to not collect the data in the first place. Surveillance is not neutral. It always comes with a cost, and that cost is not shared equally. The communities most impacted by surveillance are often the same communities that this technology claims to protect. So yes, Austin did something bold, but the companies like Flock pushing this technology are counting on us to let our guard down. They are counting on a quiet return. The only sustainable public safety is one rooted in trust, not in surveillance. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, y'all. My name is Mark Philly. I speak as myself and not as any group or company I'm employed or organized with. I am happy to hear that the agenda item 46 was removed from tomorrow's consideration and vote. I'm here to kind of let you know, as someone who's been in the tech, software, IT, system administration for 2 decades, kind of how these systems are around and why I am certainly concerned about it. So there is talk often in these things like, what does the contract say? What are the guardrails? And yes, it is important to have those. I will give an example of one of several dozen instances during my career that, where the safety is actually encumbered by the people using the system. What I mean by that is like any outside vendor or the police. So I worked with a customer on on a technical problem. They sent me their data logs to help me do analysis on their system. While I was looking at it, they had inadvertently turned debug mode on with their application. So that meant I saw PII and PHI data. And I was like, I don't really need this for my analysis, but it's here. I am required to inform the customer that they did this. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry about that. That was not on purpose. We code and didn't turn off the debug flag. So, I don't know if that happens with this reader or other reader programs, but it's something I want those listening to this to consider, that you can have, and I guarantee 100% it was against their company policies, etc. But it did happen. Another thing, just kind of related to all this, so this is one book of many you could read, Weapons of Math Destruction. Chapters 5 and 10 are the most relevant for you to read on this topic, about how data in the public space, whether it's collected through police programs or companies, can then impact you on a very personal level. And while this does not apply to my former colleague speaker, McKinsey, I think this helps example to you all why we have these actual conversations, because in a simple Venn diagram, if you have this space and, probably the size of one, lawyers and those that have a GitHub account, it done. Like there's no, that's funny. There's not an intersection. So a lot of folks who are proposed or write these laws, they don't understand, the implications of software and what those that are me that write the stuff that are actually capable of. So I definitely want you all to consider that, and do not be afraid. There will be people like us around again, and these things will come up again. So I ask for your support in coming out again. Thank you all.
Hi, I'm Dr. Susanna Carranza. I'm a chemical engineer. I have a PhD in chemical engineering. And because of that, I used data analysis, and this scares me. But right now, I'm actually speaking on behalf of ABLA. I was just being asked by leadership to just pass along their brief statement. ABLA is the City of Austin present or future collaboration with surveillance companies that are actively working with the federal administration to surveil Austinites, to capture immigrant workers and families, and retaliate against protected First Amendment rights. Postponing the vote to discuss contractual adjustments will not change the fact that such mass surveillance is not acceptable and here whenever this is next discussed. So it's just not now, not later. Thank you.
Yeah. Sophia.
Sophia?
Bob. Bill.
The old guy move, dropping it. This is a statement from the Indivisible Rosedale Huddle.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Bill King, a member of Indivisible Rosedale. Under normal times, we might actually support this tool, but we are not in normal times. In these times, this system will be a gift to ICE and a threat to us and all our fellow Austinites. As you've heard, the recent audit revealed that the city's contract with Flock allows them to copy the data, any data they have, and use it for any purpose they want. Austin has a policy that's meant to put up guardrails on how our automated, whatever it is, LPR data is used, but they're inadequate because the contract does not protect Austin residents from general mass surveillance. They don't just track license plates. The company feeds the data into an AI that allows any Flock customer to track vehicles by dents, by markings, even by the bumper stickers they put on their cars. And this allows them, the contract allows them to use our data and your data to share it with outside agencies and any private corporation they want. It's already being used to surveil protesters and migrants. Under the current program, or actually under any program I'm learning today from listening to this, you will be unable to prevent outside agencies from weaponizing the data to target people traveling for abortions, gender-affirming care, on their way to scheduled immigration courts that they were ordered to appear, or from even attending a protest. This is not a problem with the Austin Police Department. It's a problem with data and accessed by the federal government and by any flock customer in the world. It is your job, council members, and our job to defend and protect Texans from being harassed, threatened, and potentially jailed without due process or deported.
Again, I'm Sophia from Hands Off Central Texas. We'll wrap this up today by saying that AI surveillance is not just an existential threat to American democracy. ALPRs are an immediate threat to the safety and First Amendment rights of every person in Austin. ALPRs are a honeypot of pre-warrant data on everyone driving in Austin. State and do not need to request data from to the contract company and pull the data from them. It is not in the public interest to spend our tax money that cannot guarantee bulletproof security for our precious data. The only secure data is data that we never collect. ALPRs are being Half Moon Bay, San Francisco, Oakland, and Delano in California, County, New York, Denver, Colorado, Pima County, Arizona, and now San Marcos here in Central Texas have all voted to end their ALPR programs and protect their residents. Every person holding elected office in the state of Texas took an oath to the Constitution. When faced with this and every choice they make on council, we expect our representatives to defend our liberty, our lives, and our democracy. I want to thank Council Members Zoe, Mike, and Natasha for voting against ALPRs in March, and Austin looks forward to seeing our City Council unite to protect Austin residents from the overwhelming risks of AI surveillance and pre-warrant data collection. Thank you very much for being here, and I hope that everyone will continue to defend democracy here in Central Texas. Oh, wonderful. We have, wonderful.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you all. I was just chairing a committee meeting for our public health committee, so I appreciate you all with your patience for me being a little bit late, but I was glad to join because today was a really big moment where I personally wanted to extend my gratitude to our community for showing up, for speaking out, for raising your concerns, and letting us know as City Council just what safety in our community means. And I firmly believe that as a local elected official, right now being a community leader at the local level with the Trump administration and with the state legislature, it is on us at the local level to ensure the safety of all Austinites, of our community, of our residents. And knowing when we think about safety, that includes our human rights, our dignity, and everything that goes along with it. What this tool could have done at a time where our information is sacred, at a time where we have a federal administration hell-bent on deporting families and separating our families and targeting immigrants, where we know we are in a hostile state, especially when it comes to gender-affirming care and our reproductive rights. It makes no sense for us to continue. So much trust and confidence has been lost, and when we certainly can't have that trust at the federal level. But all of this would not have been possible if it wasn't for the people in this room, for the voices that were raised, for the concerns that came forward. And I just want to share my appreciation. I want to thank my colleagues here, particularly Councilmember Siegel for your effort and your leadership on this issue, Councilmember Caudry for your leadership as well. Greatly appreciate serving on the dais with you all. Thank you.
Is that it? That's it? Okay. Okay, good job too.
Thanks for coming, y'all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, sir. This way we continue.
Oh, should we take questions? Howdy! We're going to take questions. Just a moment, please.
You want to scooch in?
those are conversations that we'll be having with the city manager. As you all know, they had a, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I was
They,
gonna say-
they have a contract through the end of the month. And so certainly ago, so these are conversations that we'll be having with city leadership.
I was going to say what you said.
I have a question for council members as well. Yesterday, Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis did say that she understood the concerns when it comes to these valuable tools. What would be
Yeah, you know, we want to ensure that our police officers have what they need when it comes to investigating crime. Do want to remind folks that license knowledge. So before then, we were able to solve crime, and we will continue to do that. We did it here in Austin in 2020 when the council did away with LPR technology. Then continue to ensure that we are pursuing justice. What those tools look like is something that we'll have conversations about.
To follow up on that, you know, they testified staff. That you'll work to figure out how to, you know, fill in this gap, you know, to help them, even though they say that they're short the things that these license plate readers help them to do. You know, how does that work?
Yeah, you know, we received an update in our Audit and Finance Committee from Chief Davis on recruitment efforts. And I was surprised that we don't have an actual recruitment plan for our department. And that's something that we have tasked our Chief of Police in ensuring that we have an action plan for our department to ensure that we're addressing those vacancies. And so I really am looking to police leadership on that. Of course, this is a very well-researched sure that they continue, but you know, we are expecting them to come to the table on that action plan and to pursue those strategies.
because there is money and a lot of time put into this? I mean, does this harm the budget at all if they haven't when it comes to
From 20,000 technology to be able to access the LPRs, and so certainly. That'll be a consideration this upcoming budget cycle.
And even though the
Can I make a comment? Yeah, you know, from what I understand, conversations with the city manager and anywhere from the speakers, from council members, this is just bad policy, which has a massive. But have the tools outside of is on the right to get the job to come back. But I think the folks behind us right now and other folks on the
Do you think fellow council comes up?
for
Just to follow up on that, are there any policy different vendor, any of those kind of options that would make this?
Yes.
if you put what lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
All right, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
good
you.
answer.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm sorry?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.